also requires personal integrity as a journalist, which I call journalistic ethics. And I teach journalistic ethics to students one-on-one. So unless I really believe in the story that I do as the right thing to do, then I am actually serving the public good. It would be hypocrisy on my part to persuade people to give me information so that I get to do my job. And having approached my interviewees this way, I have persuaded local prostitutes to even share their homes, their children, lives with children on the daytime, and what they do at nighttime with their clients, openly and quite freely, for which I was very grateful. But I did find location fee in the budget and have offered it to them after the filming was completely over. Because after all, I took 3 days of their time. So she couldn't go and do her prostitution for 3 days to earn a living. Whereas I was doing my job for 3 days thanks to her. The fairness of the job world. Working, well, we are all working. She's working too. And if she couldn't go to the restaurant to clean dishes, because I needed her to be on my location, so that I can do my job, so that my production can produce great documentary, I think they need to be compensated for, not for their story, but for their time invested. I think that so the fairness of it and honest of it, that's the integrity of the principle that I need to impose it onto myself, that I am very comfortable saying that the content is free of any other than what it is. Accuracy, that the content is correct. Because it is human nature to please somebody who's giving you something, whether it's food or whatever. So they may want to exaggerate a little bit more if you ask for, so can you go on, and they know that you want something more. And they could be tempted. So why do you tempt somebody? But if you set the rule very clear from the beginning, that very sorry, but there's no money involved, but I still need your help. Could you help? And if you can get that arranged, I think providing them with the compensation after the fact does not really interfere with the integrity of the content itself. And that's how I've been doing my very difficult prostitution stories, North Korean stories, defector stories, especially like slave stories. They don't even understand. And the problem with, for example, doing slave stories, that there's a medical term of retarded. If you're IQ below 30, you are medically declared retarded. And when you have to talk to the people, you know that whatever you do, if you're good at persuasion, they're going to do it. And you could be exploiting them in many regards. But I am educated, intellectual, I'm a professional. If I have self-respect, I told myself, I'm not doing this. So I have to be fair on their behalf, even if they're not asking for it. So that was the basis of my judgment.
I mean, you guys are all, facing with competitors. First, Stella, there are many news outlets actually that set aside budget. Actually, I'm producing a documentary which they set aside a budget of $4,000 to film, and it's it's not just Korea. It's for India, Singapore, and other countries. So the production company has a budget, and they want to convince with their money. And in even Korean news outlet, they set aside some budget for, and they straight out say, okay, this is money, and there are no Korean defectors who tell you that this is money you have to pay, right? So how do you compete with unethical, less ethical competitors, Stella?
Well, first of all, I think was very impressed by what you guys talked about, and I think this is an opportunity for all of us to redefine what the news is so that it's more relevant to today's world. So I find this to be a challenge, and I think it's a well-defined challenge here, but this is the opportunity to go back to the basics of what is journalism. Therefore, what is news? How do you define news today? What is news to the millennials? What is news to the business sector? So do you vary in the definition of the news? And linking this to the North Korean defector stories, and North Korean stories for that matter, what is news? Unless we have a clarity as the definition of the what is news, it's going to be a very hazy situation. It could be murky, it could muddle through, and I wouldn't say something's ethical or non-ethical because it all varies. It depends. It's also a relevant concept. But for me, I would not be paying for the content. Will be my principle. So, if there is a defector who has to be paid, then I am not working with the defector. I will still search for someone who's willing to understand the nature of the story I'm trying to do. And this is why I think the belief that the story I'm doing is validly serving the public good, that I'm being fair in treating my interviewees. Unless I have real belief that I am doing the right thing, I don't think I could go to someone and say, I want you to talk to me, I want you to share this information to everybody because it's important, but I'm not going to pay you when the norm is paying.